All right, is this working? It is. Hello. Good morning, friends. Good afternoon, I guess. I mean, technically, it's pretty much afternoon here as well. It's like 11 o'clock, so I don't know why I'm saying good morning, but what's up, folks? Back again with another live stream. I just did a wedding recently. And yeah, I just need to go through my normal editing process. So again, we're gonna live stream. Y'all gonna hang out with me while I edit everything. And yeah, pretty straightforward. We got my dude Marcus and Mark. We got all the Marks in the house this morning. So yeah, these are some of the selects I've done so far from the day. You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I actually shot the XT4 on this wedding. I get so confused now because I use dual bodies, but I only have one XT4, so I'm like, I like forget which one I used or not. But to start out, we are going to cull some photos. So let's get into our good old photo mechanic. Let's see. Oh, you know what I need to do actually? I need to separate my second photographer's photos. It just makes it easier for me to work when I can cull my own and then I can cull theirs. So here's the second photographer. She's using an XT2. So it's always nice when you have same camera bodies. So we're gonna select all these and create a new folder. Include selected photos, and then second photographer. Boom. $150? That ain't right. Oh, it's okay. It's still moving. I was like, what? Which would you peeps recommend? 14, 16? I like the 16. I'm on the 16 2.8. The 16 1.4 is probably really nice. Because that 2.8, it's a little dark, especially for events and weddings and stuff. What's that you're drinking? Some nice iced coffee that I made at home. I basically just made the coffee, let it cool down, throw some ice on it. Do you have a free preset for Capture One? Not yet. No free presets. Hey, Christina's here. It's another regular. I gotta start doing some kind of something for regulars because y'all be in here. Cool. So now I have her photos separate from mine. And now we can jump back into photo mechanic. So now when I cull, yeah, I'm gonna start with mine and I can go back and do hers. We wanna make sure this is sorted by capture time. Come on, photo mechanic. It's over here taking up the whole screen. UK in the house, hello, welcome to the stream. Would you consider the 50 to 140 2.8 for a ceremony? I've actually never used it, but it would be nice for a ceremony. It depends on how you handle ceremonies, because yet again, if you've watched my full wedding days, I tend to stay up at the front of the wedding. I don't need a long lens. Most of the times I'll shoot it with a 56, so. Or like this wedding particularly, they wanted me not so close to the ceremony, so I used the 90. I done messed up. Oh, photo mechanic. What should I do with picture style? Are you talking about like how you're editing it or how you're taking the photos? Sir Christopher Barry's up in the house. Hello, welcome to the stream. Is the 50 f2 a great alternative for the 56? I've heard it's pretty good. I've personally never used it. So the biggest thing with the 56, there it goes. Thank you, Photo Mechanic. The biggest thing with the 56 is, yet again, it has what I like to call the old focusing system. So for video, it's just not the best. It like hunts and it's just really not the best. So if you want a lens that you can use for both video and photo, you might want to go with the 50 f2. But like I said, yet again, I've never personally used it. But the 56 so far is my favorite lens that I've ever used by Fuji. So all right, so I'm in Photo Mechanic now. I have it sorted by capture time, and now I can go through and select all of my photos. Very straightforward process. If y'all have watched any of my videos talking about the yes method of culling, that's basically what I'm doing now. It's pretty much you don't think. You really don't think. You see it. If it feels good, if it looks like it's in focus, then that's the shot and you just pick it. The downside to this is I tend to over cull, but the upside is the process is way faster. I'm not sitting here for 50 years trying to cull photos. And then if I need to, and I have too many photos, I can just cull down. Yo, this lighting is not... I hate cloudy days where it's just like one moment it's mad dark and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah. And then you're just kind of like, thanks. I have them both there, both special. Cool. Yeah, Chris uses the 50. I've never used the 50. A lot of people ask me about it actually. Sometimes I went, so his hands are like blurred because my shutter's probably like mad slow because it was fairly dark. What was my shutter? Yeah, 1/160. That's better. There it goes. Yeah, and so like I chose a couple of the same kind of photos, but I can just cull that stuff down when I get to editing. It's not that hard to just be like, okay, I have like 5 of the same photos and that's way too much. That watch was given to him by his dad, so that's a special shot. Here's mom helping him out. I was gonna turn this into a GIF actually. So I need to find a better way for me to... But yeah, that should be a decent GIF. That good old 14 frames a second. Would you prefer 85-1.4 or 70-200 on a full frame for your telephoto lens? I personally, I just don't like zoom lenses. That's my personal, and I think for learning at least, especially, prime lenses are really nice because you really start learning like the focal distance and how close you need to be to stuff and kind of what look you're gonna get. I feel like zooms, you don't really learn composition as well because you're too busy thinking about like, oh, I can just recompose and recompose. It's like cropping almost. It's like you just have all this cropping you can do. And I feel like it's too much sometimes. So those are great choices for weddings, obviously. But me, I tend to be like an 85 and a 110 or something like that. what is culling? Culling is when you choose things out of something, or taking something out, getting rid of, or what's the great, someone define it better than that. Take it back to SAT days. Culling is like, yeah, setting apart from something. So basically I'm just choosing the photos that I want to edit from the wedding. I've just discovered Photo Mechanic on your channel. Do you use it specifically for file selection? Yes, it is extremely fast, and that's the main reason I use it. I used to not use it. I used to be very much about using Lightroom for culling, but like if you see how quickly I'm scrolling through these photos, Lightroom can't do that. Because basically what Photo Mechanic is doing is just using the JPEG previews that come along with your raw files. Did they not do a normal photo? Oh no, they did, okay. Dang. Why is this coming up again? My cameras aren't even in sync with themselves. How bad? What software are you using for previewing color? This is Photo Mechanic. The hands down best photo. And see, so the way I use it is I like to cull after I've already imported. But I know a lot of people who will cull first and only import what they chose. The main reason I don't do that is because if for some reason like the couple comes back to me and they're like, hey, can you find any extra photos of, you know, something? You know, I don't want to be like, oops, sorry, I only imported like half the photos and then deleted everything else. There's nothing else left. My wife imports all, then culls, then edits. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, you shoot the wedding, and actually that's what Mark basically is getting at. It's like, yet again, if for some reason the couple wants more or wants an alternate shot of something, or something comes up, you know, being able to go back and look through all of the photos helps versus being like, oh, sorry, I only had like 2 photos. Nice shots. Thank you, Marcus. So this right here, personally, is not how I would do the bride getting her makeup or any makeup shots like that. But it would have been so much more of an issue to try and have the makeup artist move. It just would have been so much more. So I just dealt with it. And sometimes you gotta learn on a wedding day when to be like, no, I need y'all to move because it will be better, and when to be like, okay, whatever, it's not gonna be a big deal. But yeah, I am not a fan of backlighting stuff at all. So these photos were from my engagement photo session I did with them, which I also have a behind the scenes of. So let me share that with y'all if you haven't had a chance to see it yet. Here it is. So this was their engagement session. This is the same couple. How long do you hold on to photos from a wedding session? I know some keep forever, some toss. So far I've been keeping forever, but it's obviously one of those things where like it takes up a lot of space. So I'm always like half and half. on like how I should keep stuff and when I should keep stuff. Yeah, I don't think I've deleted any RAWs ever so far, now that I think about it. So they had this wedding in the backyard of her parents' house. I probably should have moved this mirror more. The video, you can see the video, you can see my second in it. But it's whatever, we'll Photoshop that stuff out and it'll be fine. It's, yeah, like this. It's gonna be a little annoying, but whatever. Can't speak for John, but a lot of TOGs will have retention clauses. Exactly. That's exactly what so like per contract, after like 3 years, I can delete the photos. Personally, I've had a hard time doing that. I keep JPEGs basically forever, but the RAWs after a while, like per my contract, after like 3 years, and it's more so like the first year, and that's mainly even about the JPEG. So, but like the first year, you know, I hold on to everything. The second year, I archive everything. The third year, at that point, I can delete it if I want to. Wish you the best. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you so much. Most TOGs cover themselves for a certain period of time, but then end up retaining them for years. Yep, exactly. Basically, you need a clause to be like, hey, you know, only this amount of time I'm gonna keep your stuff, because it takes up a lot of space, and we all know that. So personally, I'm not a fan of the someone else putting on your earrings shots. I like them doing it themselves. It just looks a lot more natural. But you know, yet again, when you're at a wedding day and people suggest shots, sometimes you just have to know when to be like, you know, that's fine, whatever. Y'all can do it that way. Instead of being like the super argumentative photographer who's like, no, I want to take the photo like this. You know, like... Which Fujifilm emulation do you prefer? I like classic classic chrome, and that's what you're seeing here. This is all classic chrome. Behind the scenes video for this? Not for this. With the pandemic and stuff, I don't know. I'd rather not do behind the scenes videos, because especially at weddings, not everyone is wearing masks and stuff, and I just don't want people to be like, look at this wedding, people aren't wearing masks. Oh, you know, it's you know, the professionals and all the workers there, we're wearing masks, we're staying safe, but I don't want the guests to catch any slack for, you know, their day. And they're staying within the rules. It's small gatherings and stuff. So this was the first look with her dad. This could be a gift too. Yeah, I gotta find a better way to mark these gifts. I wonder if I can like, do I how do I how do I mark colors? I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use the program. Oh, I don't have it set up to. That's fine, whatever. What's your craziest wedding experience? I actually haven't had too many crazy wedding experiences, which I count myself lucky for that, because I've heard of all kinds of craziness from some photographers. I've had very, very chill weddings. Extremely chill weddings with like really just not too much going on. Yeah, my cameras aren't even in sync. How horrible. But yeah, this is the longest wedding day I've done since February. It was like 9 hours. And most of it included just like getting ready and stuff. And the ceremony was kind of long. But yeah, it's my fullest wedding in a while. There's a first look with the brother. Yeah, I don't like all this backlighting. I'm not a backlight person. I can't stand it. And then she does a first look with her bridesmaids. This was flash, because it was pretty dark at this point. Here are a couple safety shots for me, but my second also was shooting this. She was off to the right of this photo. Hello JB, how are you? Last time I asked a question, but you missed your answer. When you use Canon lenses on XT4 for video, will you have problems with stabilization? Or is it gonna be like using Fuji lenses? I would assume it's like using Fuji lenses. I don't know much about the Canon lenses or if they have, you know, like stabilization built into them, so I'm actually not sure. I've never tried it. I had someone try to do that to me on an engagement shoot. There was external friends and one had clearly lived on pin. Oh, and making it. Yeah, it's hard. It really is hard dealing with people making suggestions while you're at the wedding, like just trying to do your job. And like you want to be nice, you don't want to just be like, get that out of my face, which I have done before. But yeah. It's definitely not ideal. Especially, you know, every photographer has their own kind of style. So you got these people sitting there being like, hey, do this, do that, do this. And it's just like, that's not my style. You know, like I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. It's just not, it's not what I do. Oh my goodness, the lighting's so bad. I think I was at 1600 ISO. They're like, no flash. 1250. Oh yeah, these are gonna be rough too. Veils are always such an ordeal at weddings. They always put them on at the last minute, so you're not, sometimes you're not in the same spot where you were like getting ready, which was like nice. So this is the 90 here. Yet again, since I couldn't be too close to the ceremony and everything, I used the 90. It just made more sense. Thank you for that sub. No. You can definitely accidentally get a venue fined for capturing BTS where no one's wearing masks. Exactly. Yeah, there's too much right now going on. There's too much right now. So I was like, because I would have loved to do behind the scenes of this wedding. It went smoothly. It was a great day. I did their engagement, so like I could link them up together. It would have been a very low-key day. I barely caught that's handshake right there, because yeah, my shutter's mad low. So yeah, I didn't want to. It's just too much. Too much right now going on, so no behind the scenes. I'm sorry, y'all. So this is why, like, a lot of people hate on photographers for the whole spray and pray style of photography, but especially with me in this dark area shooting at the shutter like 1/125th, 1/100, like shooting multiple shots makes sense, because between your handshake and people moving, like it just makes sense. If I understand your workflow, you import all pictures into Lightroom, mark them in Photo Mechanic, then back in Lightroom, select marked files. Is that right? Yes, that is correct. Import everything, select in Photo Mechanic, and then basically just hook the selects back up in Lightroom. And then from there I start editing. So these shots are all straightforward. I'm just picking some where people look like they're smiling and things are fine and there's no camera shake. I'm also skipping the photos when they're in that light, cause that's annoying. This will be good in black and white, but it's just like, oh yeah, these are gonna be rough. I wonder if they would have let me use flash when they were walking in at least. It's a little blurry, but it's fine. I was moving around too much. Yet again, the emotion and stuff is way more important than a photo not being like perfectly sharp. An extremely perfect photo. Here's a Brenizer, it looks like. Yeah. Following on from above, is there anything you need to set up so that Lightroom sees the selections made in Photo Mechanic? Usually what I do is oh, this was blurry too. It's more so, basically all this information is written into the metadata of the file, so I just tell Lightroom to look at the metadata basically. This was going to be another Brenizer, but there was some camera shake in it as well. So much camera shake. I have an XT3. What do you recommend for a backup camera? Should I get smaller, cheaper Fuji or another XT3? The XT3s are really well priced right now, so if you can, just go ahead and get another one. Having the exact same body is nice, but the XT30 is great too, or the XT20. Like, a lot of those cameras are really good. XT3's only, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can afford $1,000 bucks, $9.99 on Amazon, that's a pretty good deal. The XT3s are like, and a lot of people are upgrading to the XT4, so like, you just have a lot of that. If you have Prime, they let you do payments. Yep. I've found it seems like they'll let you do payments, but if you have another product that's already on payment, then you have to like wait until you've paid that one off. They won't let you do like multiple photos. Oh yeah, their kiss came out of nowhere. It was all blurry. The camera missed the focus too. Who's calling me? FaceTime. Do I have a meeting? Did I miss a meeting? I don't have anything on the calendar. Yeah. Dang. Hold on, y'all. Let me figure out who this is. All right, sorry, y'all. It's one of my wife's friends' kids. They called the wrong number. They just kept continually FaceTiming me. I was like, what? It's 2021 calling to say thanks for sticking around through the last one. Are you using auto or manual focus for these shots? This was auto. And yeah, because my shutter was slow and the kiss came out of nowhere, the shots were definitely this was flash, but I had the flash turned down really low. I probably should have turned it up a bit. Yeah, this whole ceremony area is gonna, the photos will be fine, but they're not gonna be the best. And then family photos. For these, I'm just looking for open eyes. And I'll usually grab a couple. And that's another reason why I like to keep the raws, because if someone comes back to you and they're like, oh, hey, in the family photos, X person had their eyes closed or something, like, you know, I have all these multiple photos that I can go through and try and find an alternate or something. Whereas if I only import, you know, the ones that I culled, then if for some reason someone doesn't like one of the photos, I can't do anything about it. It's just kind of like, oh well. Do you shoot with the electric shutter or the usual one in these type of situations? I was using the normal one. The normal one is pretty quiet, but the electric is even more quiet. So it depends on how discreet you need to be. So these were safety shots. I don't even know if I'm gonna keep them because it was raining off and on all day. So a huge tip, if you are shooting weddings and it's raining, like take photos that you can when you can. Don't wait for like the timeline of the day and stuff. So basically I had literally 2 seconds before we were gonna go take portraits and bridal party portraits and all of that stuff. So just to play it safe, I went ahead and grabbed some solos of both of them. This was like the best choice of a location that I had. It was like right outside the church, but yet again, it had stopped raining. So like, you know, I took these in case, you know, it kept raining and then it was just like, oh, too bad. Now these are the only photos you have, so.
Fly away, fly away, fly away with me. It's time to fly away.
I got some food again, so I'm sorry. I always be eating on the stream. Puts on electric shutter, spy photographer. Yeah. It lets off a little like this weird high-pitched noise. Why don't you call it Lightroom? Is it slower? Yes, it is extremely slow compared to Photo Mechanic. Photo Mechanic flies. But yeah, it's just like raining everywhere. All the bridesmaids had these nice purple dresses on. They all get wet. Now there's wet rain marks everywhere, which is mad annoying. You know, they're gonna expect me to Photoshop that out because Photoshop's magic. And it's like, no, it's not. It takes forever. So I'll probably do, you know, a couple of photos. But if they want like every single photo with no raindrops on them, I'm gonna have to charge more for that. It's a lot. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot. There we go. So these are all sister-in-laws. These are his sisters. And then the rest of the bridesmaids shots. But yeah, we're like under a tree because it was raining. We're like over here rushing, trying to keep everyone as dry as possible. It was like such an ordeal. Oh, wait. That one works better. What's the tech reason Photo Mechanic flies compared to Photoshop? I think it's just because it's pulling the previews, whereas like Lightroom tries to load like the whole photo, and I don't know, it's just always like loading photos. It takes it forever because it's trying to load the photos. So we took a couple rain shots. It was raining, but yet again, we're under the trees, so it's not so bad. And then luckily, the rain stopped right as we started taking portraits. Like, it could not have been any more perfect. But all of those photos were like rushed. Yeah, my shutter is back up. Every drop of rain. That would be horrible. Yeah, their dresses got all messed up too. Fuji colors are very nice. Yes. Fuji colors are the best. So my wife went to a local farm and bought some thick cut bacon. Mmm. Mmm. So good. This will be another gift. I actually didn't really want to shoot at this spot, but the video folks were using it. So obviously you kind of have to go with what you have. This was the spot my second suggested because she lives in the area. And it was good. Like, this is what I was looking for. It's cool when you get a second who really knows you. She like knows exactly the type of shots I usually take. She knows like the type of scenery I like. So she's able to suggest areas and be like, yep, you're gonna love this. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. So here's a Brenizer I did. So here are all the shots that get combined. And this was with the 56. So this is what you end up getting when you actually combine everything. I want to get LASIK surgery in my eyes so that I can see the world in Fuji color. Wouldn't that be cool? You're like, oh, can I get Fuji LASIK? Oh no, what's happening down here? And then once you have all this connected, at that point, you can crop this thing however you want to. Because this is like a good 30 photos, if not more. It's almost like working with a GFX file. I love this shot right there. This in black and white. Party time. This is all the 56, 1.2. So for this, I had them facing away from the light. I might actually even just take those photos out. So I turned them around. We went back and did solos again because yet again, it rained, but it stopped. So the ones by the brick were the safety shots. So I figured just go back and do some nicer solos now that I had them and the lighting was good and it wasn't raining. Things were wet, but they were troopers. This was a request from the planner. I generally don't do these shots. Ah, they weren't close enough. I should have stopped down more. This was also a request from the planner. I love these kind of like in motion shots. What was I doing? My shutter's so low. So many shaky photos. I can't even. It's been so long since I've done a wedding that I don't even know how to shoot clear photos anymore. But yeah, I'll definitely cull this stuff down. Here's the cake. I went back and took these photos again just in case. Also because now the cake's beside it, so. This was me testing the flash. I'll just throw that in there anyway. Remind us of the camera setting for Brenizer to work. Is it focus hold? Yeah, so basically what I like to do, at least for the Brenizer, is what I do. So I have my camera set up that one of the buttons in the back are like the autofocus on. It's just, you know, autofocus on, so back button focusing. So I hold that, hold the shutter, and that way, or hold the focus, that way the focus stays on my subject. So I get my focus, hold it, and then you just take your shot. I recorded some footage for it, so a Brenizer video will be coming up hopefully soon, in the next couple of months or so. So here goes their intro. Honestly, like the size of this wedding, I kind of wish weddings were like this more often. Like it was like the perfect size. I love your look. Have you ever considered releasing a set of presets styles for Capture One? Yes, I am working on my Capture One preset now. And hopefully, I hope to have it out soon. Like very soon. Here's the cake cut. I shot these with the 16 2.8. This is all flash. For cake cuts too, a big tip is always wait for the couple. Like the moment they're done cutting, don't be like, okay, they're all done. Like sit there and watch them for a minute, because usually they'll still play around or something will happen. Get mom in her feels. There, look at that. That's the shot. This is the 35, I think. Yeah, 35 f2. And then flash. This is all on camera flash. And then this is the 16, I think. Yeah. Father-daughter dance. Yeah, my cameras are all out of sync. This is the worst. I gotta like go back and sync my cameras. Do you check out the location first before doing a shoot for lighting purposes? Not really. I just kind of wing it. I'm a very winging it person. I'm very confident in the unknown. Actually, a lot of that I attribute to video games and also jazz, because I play saxophone. So I was explaining it to someone one time. It really reminds me of like improvisation. Like when you're improvising on a song, you know the chord changes at least. but you don't really know what you're gonna do. You know, you kind of know the scales for the chord progression, and you know the chord changes, and that's it. And it's the same thing with wedding photography. Like, you have a timeline and stuff, you have a general idea of like how things are gonna go down, you know how to use a camera. You know, that's the same as knowing your chord changes and all of your chords and all your scales and all that stuff. But when you get to the performance and it's time to improvise, you know, it's like, okay, do it now. Chord progression ain't gonna stop for you. You gotta keep up with the chord changes, you know. And that's what wedding days feel like to me. Like, when stuff starts going down, I have an idea of what I'm gonna do, but you know, you just kind of do it based off of the information you know. So, because like, I don't know, I feel like it's too controlling to be like, I need to know exactly what the light's gonna look like. Like, yeah, you're gonna have an idea, and it's kind of good to know where the shadows are gonna fall and stuff like that, but you never know. You know, it could be a cloudy day, and when you went and scouted the area before, it was a sunny day, so then it's like you wasted your time scouting for no reason. So I'm not a big fan of scouting beforehand. Now, to see the location and to see some of the spots, that's fine, but lighting is such a, it changes so often that for me, there's no point to go scouting for light. Is it important to check out the location before? Yeah. So yeah, it's half and half. A lot of times I literally go flying blind on weddings, because I feel very confident when I have the timeline and everything. So I'm not really worried about anything, and I'm confident in my skill of knowing light and knowing how to work with light and knowing how to improvise when stuff goes down. So it helps definitely, but I don't think it's like a necessity. I tell my couples that it's almost better for me not to know a location, because then I'm more creative, because it's new to me. You know what I'm saying? So like, the area is like, wow, this is so, everything about this area is so cool to me because I've never seen it before. Like, it's just new and fresh, and I'm like, yeah, so I have new ideas and I try things differently. Where like, when I was in New York and I shot every engagement session at Central Park, it got to a point where it was like, okay, we go here, we do that, we do this shot, we do that, we go here. And it's like, it was like an exact, you know, every time I did the exact same thing, and it was just so annoying. And you know, I was like jaded, like, okay, Central Park, here we go. So yeah, I almost like not seeing a place first and being able to go there and just kind of figure it out as I go. Mama's in her natural feels. Would you go with the V862 or the V1? I have not used the V1s. I don't know much about them. That's the one with the circular like heads, I think, right? I have the V862s and I like them. All this stuff you're seeing here is with the V862s. This type of reception area, this is like easy lighting 101 for photographers. Like, you don't even need off-camera flash. You have a tent, the tent's white, the tent's not, you know, it's not super high. It's angled, so most of your bounce is gonna bounce right back in. So I think I have my flashes close, yeah. So, you know, basically I'm just V862 right on top of my camera with a mag sphere on top of that, pointed straight up. And that's it. That's what I was doing at this whole reception. If I can get it on here, yeah. So yeah, that right on top of the camera, just like this, and that's it. And it's like enough. Power of the flash is like 132. And I raised my ISO to capture the ambience of the room. Ambiance. Here's a group shot because we never got one before. Oh yeah, and then this is also another GIF, I think. What video games do you play? Pretty much a lot of everything. But you know, I'm an old head, so I like my traditional JRPGs. I like my third-person shooters. I'm not a big fan of first person games. I'm just not. I feel like they're played out at this point. There's just too many first person shooters. It's too much for me. I can't take it anymore. Also, like, the first ever first person shooter I played was Tribes, and it was like a online multiplayer only game. So for me, if it's not multiplayer, I don't understand the point. There's just too many first person games, and it's just, I don't know, it's not fun to me. Unless I'm like competing against someone and I can get like totally thrashed. You know what I mean? Here goes some light painting. But what am I playing right now? So Horizon Zero Dawn just released on PC. So I've been rocking that for a minute. I love open world games. Those are probably my favorite type. Anything third person, because yet again, so growing up with video games, because like I was born with like Mario, you know, so I've played stuff since then. For me, it feels more natural to be controlling the character and like seeing the character rather than it being first person. So that's even like your old school Mario, you know, it's you looking at the character, so it's kind of third person, I guess. So I prefer that. I prefer to see my character, like I'm controlling the character. I'm not a big fan of like, immerse yourself in the game like it was you. I don't want to be in a place where we're shooting up people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not appealing to me. I'm investing in that Flash next week. Yeah, it's good. It's a good Flash. I think I talked about it in my most recent video. The fact that they can talk to each other is great. The fact that they can talk to other Godoks like speed lights is great. Like, it's really good. They're great flashes. They work well. Very straightforward. So this is all reception kind of stuff. It's just like, I go through this fast. I just look for people making funny faces or dancing or something, or some kind of silly pose or something. People interacting with each other. Like her and her sister, you know, like stuff like if I see something stand out, then I'll grab it. Oh no, that's a spot on the sensor, I think. When shooting weddings, I see that you take a lot of in-the-moment photos as well as stage photos. Is it good to have a mixture of both, or is it up to the couple? So it really, I think it's up to the photographer and the photographer's style. Really. So, you know, there's some photographers who are more very posed kind of photographer, and if that's the case, that's cool, and just make sure you market yourself like that, and then everyone understands that's what you are, and you'll find the clients who really want and like that. This is some 35. I usually don't do this. I don't like to sit on the edge of the dance floor and just take photos, so I'll do it every now and then, but most photographers do it. I like being a part of the party so that people don't feel like you're like a creeper in the corner just like spying on them. So I usually get in there with everyone and use like a 16 or a 14 or something. But yeah, I think having a mixture of both helps, but really it's just about your style. So, you know, like I say that I mainly have a very photojournalistic style. I like to capture kind of the moments, and that's what I focus on. I focus on the emotion and facial expressions and stuff like that of people. So because of that, I try to lean towards that mainly, and I let my couples know that when they meet with me. You know, like if you're looking for extremely perfect photos where everything is heavily edited, and you know, that's not me. And I tell them that. And I let them know, like, you know, if that's what you want, I'm probably not the photographer for you. And that's fine. More of it, yet again, is about being in the moment. So I don't think you have to have any, like, if you're a very staged photographer and that's what you do, you know, then lean on that and make sure your couples know that. And the couples who will find you will like that. And that's what they'll want, and you'll go from there. They had a little outfit change at the end of the night, so I made sure to get some photos of that. And that's a big thing too. When you're like about to leave the wedding, don't just like find a couple and be like, okay, time's up, bye-bye. You know, like if some like last minute thing happens, like they do an outfit, you just stay for 2 extra minutes, you know, like big whoop. Oh, they didn't pay for these 2 minutes. It's fine. It is fine. You know, I get a couple of these cool photos. Everyone taking one last little shot. You know, it's whatever. Yeah, I can't remember. It was some song that everyone got hype on. So I stayed for the song. Caught a couple more photos. Cool. So that's done. Let's go back to Lightroom. I'm going to... Oh, yeah, I got to do the second photographer. I got excited. Let's open up a new contacts sheet. Second photographer. Oh, hold on real quick. All right, sorry about that. Are you still using, oh, you're talking about the pictures? Like, do I check the lighting like before I start taking the photos? Usually not. I kind of just see it. Oh no, that wasn't a cookie, that was bacon. Thick cut bacon. Are you still using the GFX 100? No. Fujifilm loaned it to me because when I became a Fuji creator, they're like, is there anything you'd like to try? And I was like, word? It was like the GFX 100 would be swell. So I had it for like 2 weeks. So here are my second photographer shots. So with the second photographer, I already know I'm barely gonna use any of their photos. So when I call their stuff, I go through pretty fast. Like I don't bother to really look too hard at anything because I know that I'm just really not gonna use the photos. Select those as 4s so I can use those photos for other stuff. Because a lot of times her shots are just like doubles of my own shot. So really I'm looking for anything I might have missed or an angle that's kind of cool. This stuff was all on the XT2. She tends to shoot wide, which is cool because it's a very different perspective than my own photos. So she'll use like the 23 f1.4 throughout the day. This is a dope shot. I didn't even realize she got this. Ah, this would have been so good. The planner made her like come out a different way. This would have been hype. I'm so sad this is not the shot that we like ended up going with. But yeah, most of this stuff I have already. A lot of the times I end up just culling it down anyway. So I'm usually pretty quick with these. And I'm just really looking for some good angles, some different facial expressions and stuff. What is that, a picture? Is that a window? How cool. Well, look, when my flash gets caught by her and it becomes off-camera flash. Here's the first look. Hey John, dope YouTube channel. After everything's calmed down, any plans for London? That would be hype. I have not been outside of the States yet, so I'm definitely trying to go somewhere. Also, don't they have like... Oh, there's me, see, we're all masked up. Gotta be safe. Isn't there like a Fuji store somewhere in London? For the ceremony, she was using the 56. Ah, this will be good in black and white. Ah, that'll be good in black and white too. Yeah, really good alternate angles. Yep, she got him with all the groomsmen, which is hype. These are fine, I don't really need them. There's him in his feels. Yes, that's what we want. Thank you for that sub. Yes, that's what we want. And see, that's what you use your seconds for, because I missed all that. New to this channel, that don't look like Adobe Bridge. It is not, it is Photo Mechanic. Hug with dad from another angle. And then the ceremony itself. We'll grab some multiple angles and stuff, but for the most part, I have everything I need. So outside of people being in their feels, for the most part, this is very straightforward. She went around and got the multiple angles, which was hype. She also got the kiss. Yep, it's at a weird angle, but it's sharper than mine. Some more people hugging. And then most of these I don't really need doubles of. That's good. Yep. 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 So good. I love having a really good second photographer. I cannot tell you. There's me, so we'll get that a 4. Yes, and she always shoots wide, so when I'm shooting tight, I'll have like some nice alternative wide shots. It's always so good. So good. These are about the same as most of mine. There's me again. Yes, so good. What kind of mask do you wear? I need recommendations. I cannot remember the company that I got my mask from. Most of this I have. There's her testing, lighting. Usually I let my seconds go early, so at this point it was like about time to go. I think we ate our vendor meals real quick. And then I basically let her go. And like I said, most of this is all just like doubled up of stuff I already have. So for me, I just really don't need it. So unless the angle's really good or like a good facial expressions in there, I just don't use it. Yeah, and that's it for her, because at that point I let her go. Actually, I'll keep that photo. What's the strangest request you've ever had at a wedding? I can't remember. Like I said again, I don't have a lot of strange weddings. I really don't. No edits, selected all, metadata. Read metadata from files, read. Yeah, wearing a mask all day like that is rough. Is that a bug? Oh, bro. My dude done flew into my coffee. Thanks a lot, bro. Just ruined my whole flow. Just messed me up. So now y'all can see up here at the top, it's reading the metadata from all the files. So it's gonna 5-star everything basically. There's that light just coming in. Oh, what? My ISO is as far down as it can go? Okay, well, that's what it is then. A little overexposed. My wife made some homemade bread too. So good. So good. So now at this point, y'all can see everything filling in. You can see all my 5 stars here updating. I'm an idiot too. I should have done that for the whole thing. Okay, let's stop this real quick. There we go. Read metadata from file. I want to say thanks for inspiring me to start my business. Your list gave me the best ideas, your prices, your recommendations. Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Get in there. Next video is 40 minutes. So homemade bread and bacon. That's gonna be my next video. So here's all the 5 stars updating and coming through. This looks like it's gonna take a minute. It's a lot of photos. I haven't shot 6,000 photos in a hot minute. Bacon and chill. Photo edit, bacon and chill. Thank you for that sub. God, it's so good, y'all. Bacon is so good. My dude said extra protein. The landscaper, bro. They always come on like Fridays or Tuesdays, and it's so annoying. They literally park because our unit's like an in unit. So yes, there's a lot of a lot of light, which is nice, but they park like right there, and then just the backyard's right there, and they just be, and it's like, I'd be like, let me sit down and make a video today. Nope. Bacon and chill. Extra protein. Should I drink this bug for extra protein? My dude messed me up. Come on, bro. He said, what a way to go out. Just iced coffee my life away. It's like smoke cured or something. So good. Thank you for the subs. So many subs. So we have this stuff reading the XMP right now. So I'm just waiting for that. I guess technically I could edit some stuff while I'm waiting for it. I never trust Lightroom. I feel like if you try and do 2 and 3 things at the same time, but you see, like, these are all the same. This one's the money shot. I may as well just get rid of those. And that's usually what I do, is I'll just cull it through. If I have the 56 and the 23, which additional lens would you pick up for weddings? Probably something longer. So personally, I like the 35. And what you'll see me kind of do throughout the day is when I'm starting getting these getting ready photos, I usually don't use my 56 at all. So it's 23 and 35. 56 doesn't come out until I'm at the reception or at the ceremony or during portraits. So it's kind of half and half, but I would say get something longer. I've found in my experience that at the end of the day, something longer ends up being much more useful because, you know, you're going to be at ceremonies and you're going to have to be a distance away, and it's just a longer lens is better. So like the 50, well, you have the 56. So you may want something like the 90. Or yeah, I would either say get something longer or get something shorter. So the 90 or like the 16 are probably going to be your best next choices, because those are everything I use. Yet again, four lenses from super tight, which is usually just my 56, all the way through to the 16. I'm so sad that bug landed in my coffee. Like, really, I'm hurt. So we're waiting for this to come through. We called it. We're ready. What I usually do is I section off everything after that into sections, but I might not do it for now. I don't feel like it at the moment, but I probably should. Would 16, 35, and 85 work? Yes. Because your 16 would take place for any wide stuff while you're getting ready and stuff. But yeah, generally for me, getting ready is 23 and 35. Portraits is usually 23 and 35 or 23 and 56. Ceremony is 23 and 56. And then when they walk out, I use the 16. Reception is 23 and 35. Speeches is 23 and 56. And then reception dancing, like free dancing, open dance floor, is mainly the 16. Yeah, I'm gonna be culling down this stuff pretty hard, actually. I kind of over culled, but like I said again, that's what I tend to do anyway. The only thing I hate about this process is it takes forever. So usually I'm just kind of sitting here like, okay, read the XMP, go ahead. I can't really do too much. Yeah, I love this shot so much. Yeah, make sure you get yourself a good second photographer. Someone you can really like just be like, cool, do the thing, because I know you're gonna do it. Was it Julie? Do the thing. That's basically how it is with me. When I know I can depend on my second photographer, I'm just like, do the thing. Which 16 do you own? I have the 2.8. I like it. The autofocus is nice. It's great for video. That 2.8 sometimes is not enough light. How do you send your photos to the customer? I use PicTime for that. PicTime is basically an online gallery. And so I upload all the photos on there and then I deliver them that way. So here is this is my PicTime right here. And it just gives me nice little galleries that I can use and send to the customers. It also helps me with getting sales of prints and stuff. So PicTime is really cool. I've been on them for a hot minute now and I absolutely love it. How long do you keep the gallery open for the clients? Typically 1 year. The second year is it's archived and it just chills. And they can basically hit me up to reopen it at any point in time. But yeah, a lot of these shots where the cropping's all weird like that are black and whites for me. So I already like automatically know they're gonna be black and white. Yeah, and then see, like, I can cull this down too. This will be black and white. Also, the nice thing about black and white sometimes is it like hides, you know, like all of this stuff that just wasn't nice looking. Now you don't even care about it because it just looks good. This might even be... That's another thing that happens to a lot of my second photographers' shots is they are just like all black and white. Because they're just like such alternative shots to the main ones that I'm taking that it just makes sense to be like, black and white. These are the black and white alternative shots. The angles are so, you know, like it works that way. Let's see how these shots did. Thoughts on street photography? I love it. It's fun stuff. It's actually, I tell people this a lot, but the way I practiced, the way I practiced for wedding photography was by doing street photography. And a lot of people might be like, what? But how? But the one thing that I've personally found that's very much the same between wedding photography and street photography is that anticipation and knowing of the moment about to happen and getting there and grabbing it. You have to have this like extra sense to know like, oh, I see the scene that I want, and I see the people like coming towards it, and it's about to happen, and something good's gonna happen, and getting there before it happens, and then taking a shot. That's very much the same from wedding photography and street photography. Fujifilm, I can't speak today. They up in here, look at it, holding on. 1250 ISO. Now it's just a case of white balance, which is the worst. Actually, did I show y'all one of my favorite street shots I've taken? Yo, and I'm so hurt because I lost this photo, like the digital file, because I would sell it as a print. I love this shot. Here's one of the shots I took when I was in New York. Some good street photography stuff. This was on a Canon 6D. I want to say a 50mm lens, but I can't remember. But yeah, I love this shot so much. Like, the shadows are just so good. And you see you have the person there walking, like, right up to between the columns. Such a good photo. So good. I miss being able to do street photography because, like, North Carolina, it's just not. It's not happening. Actually, let me give y'all a better. There you go. You see a little bit better this way. Do you print photos and sell them? I don't yet. Like I said, I would totally sell this, but I lost the file. I can't find it nowhere. I'm so sad. I'm so hurt. I mean, I guess I could take a photo of this, but it's just not the same. I love this shot so much, y'all. Like, so much. Actually, I should grab this whole... I have this whole artifact uprising print that I did a while back. Because, yeah, I used to do a fair amount of street photography when I was in New York. Do you have any photo books? Are you considering making one? Maybe. That'd be cool. But yet again, being in North Carolina, there's just not much to shoot unless I'm going to, like, the middle of nowhere or just, like, something of that sort. This was some street stuff I did when, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Selection, but they did, like, a photo walk at some point, which was mad hype. So this was a shot I did. Man, this stuff is so old. So old. Any tips for posing? Do you have a checklist with poses? I don't. I do have like some go-to poses that I typically do. But the biggest thing with posing, I think, is just, at least for me, is having that connection with the client and having them interact with each other when you're posing people. But yeah, this stuff is all 6D, Canon 6D stuff from back when I was in New York. So yeah, I miss street photography. I miss it so much. Oh wow, look at these old sessions. This stuff is old, y'all. This was also Canon. Also, if you've never used Artifact Uprising, I highly recommend it. It's good stuff. This is also Canon. Here goes, this was from my first wedding ever. Like literally the first wedding I ever did. This angle's kind of wonk, but it's a cool photo. I think it works out. This thing is still reading XMP data. It like really is over here trying still. Do you have a printer? I do not. This all came from Artifact Uprising. They do like an everyday prints where they'll print like 10 or 20 photos of yours on these little square photo things. Actually, everything behind me too. This is all Artifact Uprising as well. I just like, they print on recycled paper, and I just like the way it looks. Let's see if I have anything else decent here. Not really. There's no like banger shots. This was like when I first got my camera and I was like trying to take photos. It's cool, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Some more street photography type stuff. This was with my iPhone. I used to do a lot of iPhoneography, as people called it at one point. I did a lot of iPhone stuff. That plant looking healthy? I don't know. My wife actually be getting on me because I don't water my plant enough, and I have the windows closed fairly often in here, so there's no light. So she's always like, your boy's over here dying, and I'm like, I know. He ain't got no light. You don't water him enough. Here's a little book I did. This was just random. This is just like a bunch of random prints. This is all just stuff off of Instagram. Oh, yo, so this shot right here. So I was like walking around. I think I took this with my iPhone, but it just looked so cool. Like someone had dropped an ice cream. So I was like, oh snap. And I went to take a photo of it, and the kid who had dropped it was still right there. So he like sees me with my phone like, wow, this will be a great shot. And he's just like so sad, like, that was my ice cream. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Look, y'all. I got some presents from Fujifilm. Let's see what it is. Where's my box cutter? Bacon. I need a real box cutter. This is like, I don't know what this thing is. All right, we'll see what we got. I can't even cut the box open the right way. Do you have a photo that have a very crazy backstory? I don't actually. I don't. I wish I did. I wish I had some kind of crazy, like, crazy story type of photo, but I don't. Dang, this thing is big. The new XT40. Is there an XT40? Best advice for getting clients just started with wedding photography. I have a couple of videos I did actually on that. I think it was like 1 or 2 videos, but still, it's like useful stuff. Let's see if I can find it. Oh man, so many videos. So there's this video. And then there's also this video. These are some good, like, kind of starting tips. to get started with wedding photography and to kind of get your first clients in and everything. So this is, oh, it's all taped up. I can't even get to it. Oh goodness. I can't. Tape! Tape! It's hard to buy a bad professional. It really is. Like, most of the cameras that you're spending good money on, they're great cameras. Especially nowadays. Like, cameras are good. Alright, this is the 50 to 140 f2.8. This thing is long, y'all. Ooh, it has stabilization built into it. Yo, this thing on the XT4 is about to be beastie. I've actually never used the Fuji zoom lens, so this is my first time using a Fuji zoom. Is this thing done? It's still not done? Well, great job. You gotta take the cap off. Oh yeah, this thing is long. I've got the 55 to 200. No memory card, so it won't let me focus. I'm not used to these long lenses. I'm over here using the 23 f2 and the 35 f2, which are like little tiny, and then you get this thing, and I'm like, well, dang. No card into. I know. Come on. Save data. Sequential. Is the IBIS on? Where are you, IBIS? Where are you? I don't know where the IBIS setting is. Is it only in the video? Hey, thanks for that sub. Oh, thank you so much. Let's see, IBIS. Huh? I can't do IBIS? Oh, what? Wow! You can control the IBIS from the lens. How cool. It's like the software knows that the lens is saying, hey, IBIS. So when you turn off IBIS on the lens, it turns it off on the camera too. Like they function together. I had no idea. 140, how long is that full frame equivalent? That's like a 200, right? This is a 70 to 200? Yeah, 50. Good old 70 to 200. Yep, so I'll be taking this thing on a ride at some point, I guess. See how it works out. Hi from Western Australia, love your work. Used to do weddings, but not anymore. Just moved to Fuji camera. Awesome. How cool. Santiago Sanchez, what's up? Hello. Welcome to the stream. Is that the 50? No, this is the 50 to 140. 2.8. Cool. Okay. Our stuff is done. So I'm gonna be good, and I'm gonna go ahead and section everything off like I usually do. So let's make a collection set, which will be Emily and Ethan. And then within that set, we're gonna make a smart collection. Flagged photos, rating is 5. Source, folder, contains Ethan. Now the problem is their engagement folder has the same name, so I'm gonna have to add the date, capture date, which I'm forgetting what the date was. Do I have a calendar somewhere close by? Let's see, capture date was the 15th. There. Cool. So 1,200 photos. That's the most full day I've had in a while. Excited to see what you think of that lens. I've been wanting to ditch my 56 and get the 50 to 140. Yeah, I have a wedding coming up like next week. A little small thing, so I'll probably use it there. So up, oh no, that timing's about right. No, she showed up. Our stuff is never in sync. I thought I fixed this. Let's see, capture time. I'm pretty sure it just needs to go up by 1 hour. Lightroom keeps blinking. I mean, Lightroom is a questionable program. There we go. This looks better. Yeah, this looks more accurate. Having stuff out of sync is like the absolute most annoying. You got the best flat lays. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I hope to put out a flat lay video at some point. So up until here, this is gonna be groom getting ready. Or actually, do I do getting ready groom? Yeah. And then what I'm gonna do is create another smart collection, name it getting ready groom. Add text is getting ready groom. And the reason I section stuff off like this is more so for peace of mind while editing. So instead of getting overwhelmed and feeling like I have so much to edit, what I'll do is I'll section everything into parts like that so that I can say, okay, 50 photos. I can do this 50 photos, edit it, be done with it, export it, and get that little like small win and be like, cool, I've edited. And I can then break my stuff into sections rather than feeling like I have 1,200 photos to edit. You know, instead of feeling like 1,200, now it's gonna be like, cool, you know, I have 50 here, 100 there, 70 here, 20 there, so on and so forth. This is group portraits. And that way, if I have a day where I edit, but let's say I don't really feel like editing a lot, I can at least come in and finish like a section or two. And then instead of being like, oh, I still have all these photos to edit, I can say, cool, I have finished 2 sections of the wedding and feel accomplished. So it's really good for your peace of mind and just like making sure you're not like, oh, I have so much to edit, oh no. So this will be Getting Ready Bride. We'll go ahead and make that smart collection. I used your look at someone and smile trick at a wedding once. One of the best ways to get candidates. And then this will be details. And let's go ahead and make that as well. This is more Getting Ready Bride, except for that photo. And because I already created those sections now, I can just name them and then they're gonna populate in the smart folder, which is always nice. Getting Ready Bride. This is details. This is Getting Ready Bride. This is details again. More Getting Ready Bride. No, no. This will count as details. And then now we're up to ceremony. Oh, we're still, how are we so out of sync? What happened? I guess I can move these back 1 hour, right? There we go. Yeah, so we'll call this ceremony, which it already is, it looks like. I didn't make the section yet. I'll take all these and call it Getting Ready Bride again. And then back on to ceremony. These are all group portraits. It's all good. My Lightroom acts up too. Yeah, I mean, Lightroom is wonky. That's just what it is. This is gonna be couple portraits. And then I also need to make a couple portraits Here goes more group portraits. More couple portraits. Oh, that snuck in there. Yep, and this should all be couple portraits. Yo, what happened? I guess I doubled up. Yeah, some of her photos I had fixed the time already. This should be group. So all these photos except for this one will be couple. I don't know what to call the rest of this. Details, maybe? Yeah, we'll just call this whole section details. This is where it starts getting annoying because you don't know how you want to section off stuff. So we'll say first dances. Oh yeah, I done messed up. Gotta shift this time back. It should be first dances. This isn't labeled as anything. I'm gonna call this stuff reception. And so here we are again with details. This will be cake cut. I don't need these photos. Yep, cake cut. So prepping your photos like this, it takes a little bit of extra time. But again, it like gives you peace of mind. When you're actually editing. And in my opinion, that's worth the time it takes for me to set my photos up like this. This will all be first dances. Up until about here. Oh, no, up until about here, I guess. My own cameras aren't synced. And then this stuff, I'll just count reception, I guess. And at this point, the last other section there should be, yeah, will be speeches, and then it's just reception. Yep, so this is all speeches. I done messed up. This is first dances, and I need to move the timing back again. Where are my speeches starting? Here they go. I'll throw that in speeches too. So here's speeches. So we make another smart collection. Speeches. Speeches. We'll throw these into group portraits, which we already have set up. And then from here on out, it should just be reception. Yep. There. So now everything's separated, and see, I have these sections. So now I can, you know, do getting ready, groom, and know that it's only 50 photos, or speeches and know that it's only 60 photos. And also these are all like in the same scene, so they're just going to be easier to edit in general. Let's see what auto white balance wants to do. That's good. I'm cool with that. I love when auto white balance is actually good. It's always so nice. Put that good old natural feels on it. There's something, it's like too orange. It's like bugging me. It's in that weird middle ground where like, I also want to keep her dress looking a little purpley. And so now I can take that. We'll select all those same photos and just sync the settings. They should be good to go. Still over here snacking on this bacon. Yeah, so now that I did that first one, it's easy to just kind of go through and get the rest of them where I want them to be. I think for the most part too, the coloring is going to be the same on most of these. I mean, yeah, this is all going to be the same for the most part. And this is hands down some like normal wedding photography editing. If you're not syncing your photos, you're like wasting your time. Especially if something's in the same scene with the same lens, you should just go ahead and like sync the settings across the whole thing. There we go. And then after I have sunk my photos, then I just go through all of them and make sure they look okay. That wasn't supposed to be in this loop, so that messed it up, but I'll go back and... Wait, did I really select all these other photos? I done messed up. I really did that. Let me take those out. Okay, so I adjusted there. So I'm actually gonna use this photo now and sync from that one. See if it gets the rest of them a little closer to where I want them to. I feel like I can take that orange out a bit too, yeah. Let's sync it again. Trying to get it to where it feels good. I feel like their skin's a little hot as far as exposure is concerned. And then yeah, just syncing my settings across the rest of them. I found sometimes looking at your photos small like this helps too, for you to see if they look okay or not. Black and white this one. These are starting to get too orange again. How did I close the HSL? What did I do? Good job, bro. Pull this orange down a bit. We'll get rid of that. That's fine. A lot of these photos are like the same too, so really it's just making sure they look good, throwing a couple black and whites in there. And then I'll basically move on to all the speech givers, and then this whole section will pretty much be done. And sometimes the photos are a little overkill, but like I'd rather give my couples more than less, so I tend to just like, if the photos are good, then I'm putting them in there. So this is back at the start. So one way I like to check all my photos is when I have dual monitors like I have, you can use the second monitor and it'll pull up all the photos that you have selected. So this way I can see like on one screen, y'all can kind of see it from over there, but I can tell that they all look generally the same. They look good. I can see how many black and whites I added in this section, and if it was too much. I can also like, I'm gonna black and white this one. So it's a great way to look at the overall photos rather than going like one by one and being like, are these matching? I don't know. Like, it's all in the same scene. I know for the most part it's pretty much gonna look the same. So this is a way I can just quickly kind of look at it. So usually when I'm not streaming, I have that other screen up the whole time showing off the whole photos. Okay, so I messed up a couple of these photos, so let me sync those back. Hey, hello, welcome to the stream. This one is too orange. Yo, Lightroom, come on. Suck some orange out in the HSL. Yo, what happened? I like literally messed up the whole thing. Okay, let's see if we can fix these up. Yeah, much better. Didn't I just, what is Lightroom doing? Hey bro, new subscriber, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying the content. So right now I'm just editing my photos. I have everything sectioned off by section of the day. I'm gonna crop into this a little bit. So I'm actually gonna use her shot as the basis and see if it works for this other shot. And if so, then I'm just gonna sync across the rest of all the photos. Which it looked like it did, it was just a little dark. So yeah, let's use this to sync across the rest of the photos. So now I'm just gonna go through, get all my speech givers. Yep, and then I'm gonna sync the settings. Thank you for that sub. All right, so now that I have that synced, I just go through and check everything looks the way I want it to. Make sure exposures are right and everything. Do you still have the GFX 100 or is it not yours? It wasn't mine. Fujifilm sent it over my way to test out, just to try it out, since I've never shot one before, so. Very grateful for that opportunity. It was fun to shoot, and I'm working on some videos right now actually of my experience with the GFX 100. Love that you use Fuji. I'm new to wedding photography and wanted to know why you're not using Canon. Pros or cons, maybe? Yeah, so I started on Canon. So that was like my bread and butter as a wedding photographer originally. And I shot on Canon for like, I want to say 2 years. I mean, really for me, first off, mirrorless is what drove me to Fuji. Mirrorless is just, it's really good. Being able to, you know, see your exposure and your white balance right there inside of the viewfinder. Like, that makes the hugest difference. You don't have to like do test shots and all that kind of stuff. You pretty much know what you're gonna get. You know, I'm not the youngest guy anymore. So carrying all that weight on my back during a wedding was a little too much. So the size of Fuji, like the Fuji lenses, the Fuji bodies, they're just so light. It just made sense. So between that and the fact that the camera was capable, like, I just went to Fuji. Because that's, yet again, the biggest thing, and I talk about it all the time, is don't let other photographers and brands and businesses make you think that you have to have a particular thing to do wedding photography, because that's not true at all. And honestly, I've said it before, I really believe that wedding photography is more customer service than it is photography. Like, obviously you have to be a good photographer and you need to know what you're doing, but at the end of the day, the customer service weighs way more heavily than your photos. So, you know, people are like, you have to have full frame to shoot weddings. You really don't. You know, if you know what you're doing and you know how to do it well, then you're fine. You know, like, you don't need. Or like, I was watching a video the other day, and you know, yet again, everyone has their own opinion, so no offense to anybody, but this photographer was saying that like your clients expect you to have the like top of the line gear, so you need to like buy full frame. And I was like, what? That is not true at all. Like, when it really comes down to it, your clients don't care. They don't care what you're shooting on. They don't. Do your photos look nice? Can you perform? Do you treat them well? That's what they care about. You know, they're not going to be like, oh goodness, this guy was shooting on, you know, a 5-year-old camera that was crop sensor. No one cares. No one's going to know. They just know that you're a photographer, your photos look the way they look, and you performed well at their wedding, and you like did a good job. That's all they care about. So between all of that stuff, for me, it was just like, it made sense to switch to Fuji. The weight, the price, come on. I switched from Canon and was able to get my whole kit for the price of everything, me selling my used Canon stuff. So I don't think it matters what camera system you use. It all depends on how well you know how you're using the tool. Yeah, exactly. How you know light. And that's really what it is. Because yet again, someone else was talking about that too. Like, at this point in time, cameras are good. Cameras are really good. So the only thing that sets you apart from someone else having enough money to buy a good camera is understanding lighting, your customer service towards your clients. And that's no matter what type of photography, even if it's like commercial photography or just like portraits with models, how you treat them and direct your models, it goes a long way. How you know the light, how it works, how you know how to use your camera. So you can have like an XT1. I mean, my second photographer shoots with an XT2 and her stuff looks great. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, all of that, like having to get the next thing is all just marketing. That's all. Like, they want to keep selling stuff. They want you to buy their stuff. That's just what it is. And that's business. How long would you say it takes for wedding photography business to see more consistency? I'm on my second year and I've booked 3 weddings for this year. Yeah, it takes a while, and obviously you have to like discount the fact that 2020 throws everything all the way off, but it takes a good like 4 to 5 years in my opinion before really like feeling solidified. And a lot of it's just you know, figuring out, finding the ropes, getting the experience. Because experience, that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. They think they're just like, all these people who run around telling you like, oh, you have to charge these rates so that the whole the industry doesn't get cut down by people charging low rates. But on the same end, it's like you have to have the experience for those rates. You can't be a starting photographer and have no idea what you're doing, trying to charge like $3,000-$4,000 for a wedding. Because in that sense, you're still also doing bad for the industry, because if you charge $3,000-$4,000 and you do a horrible job, people are going to be like, well, wedding photography is not worth that much because I booked a photographer for $3,000-$4,000 and they sucked. So it's half and half, but it definitely takes a couple of years, I feel like, to really get the gears working and word of mouth to kind of start moving and people noticing you, and you start having the clout and stuff like that. So curious why you chose to switch from the XT3 to the XT4. I actually didn't. I still shoot with the XT3s. Most of this stuff is actually on the XT3. I bought the XT4 as my video camera. So I have an XT30, and that was kind of like my off-board video camera since I do a bunch of YouTube stuff. And then when the XT4 was announced and it had IBIS and all that stuff, I was like, oh, cool, that makes more sense than the XT30. So I went ahead and upgraded to the XT4. So my main cameras, my main still cameras are still my XT3s. So I was just using this yesterday, got my off-camera flash, got my flash trigger, all that good stuff. But yeah, and then the XT4 is my video camera mainly. I've been using it for stills just so I can really like get used to it and see what it's like and maybe make some YouTube content about it. But for the most part, it's just my video camera. Like it's not doing anything else, but mainly being there for videos. Best beginner camera for Fuji, wanting to shoot family lifestyles. Honestly, the XT series is so good. The XT series is great. Grab an XT2 and XT3, they're great. If you want something small and just like a little small fun camera, get an XT30, XT20. But honestly, you really can't go wrong with Fuji. Like, all of their cameras are really good. I'm always surprised at just how good all the cameras are. So now I'm gonna go through and make sure all the photos look good. And for the most part, I'm just gonna like, you know, throw a couple black and whites in there and call it a day. I'm gonna turn my other monitor on so I can see all the photos. Can you describe your shooting style? Do you shoot a little underexposed and bring out the shadows in post, or you shoot for balance? I tend to shoot for balance. I'm a very like get it right in camera type of person. I don't like to underexpose. Especially I tend to shoot a lot of mixed race couples. And when you have those varying skin tones, when you underexpose, a lot of times the person with the darker skin, you're gonna mess them all up. And you don't wanna do that. So I have gotten in a habit of not really shooting underexposed. Like I'll underexpose a little bit, but I'm talking like one stop maybe. Like I know people who underexpose pretty heavily, and I just don't do that. Thank you for the sub. What's your favorite non-Fuji lens? Sigma? Yes, Sigma lenses are my jam. Those Sigma art lenses, when I was on Canon, I was about that life. I think I got the, it was the 50 mil art lens, Sigma art. That thing made me a believer. That thing was so sharp. It was so good. I love Sigma lenses so much. That's great about skin tones and underexposed, and didn't really consider. Yeah, it's a big thing, especially like I said, because I work with so many mixed race couples. It's like a normal thing for me. You underexpose someone with dark skin and you lose their whole, and you just messed up the photo. So when you have varying skin tones, you have to be very aware of that. And it also goes on the other end too. You don't want to overexpose, because then whoever has the lighter skin, you're gonna blow them out. Sigma 85. So when the 85 came out, at that point I was switching away from Canon, so I never got a chance to use it. But I'm sure it's good because the 50 art was so good. Yeah, my kit when I was on Canon was almost fully Sigma. Sigma 85 was my favorite. Nice. Yeah, the 50 was what got me in the door. Like once I saw the 50 and how it performed, I was like, yes. Make this other one black and white. So again, too, going back to how I split my days into sections like this so I can just edit sections. This is another reason why I do it, because the easy sections that are like all one scene, I can just like bang those out real quick and it'd be like, cool. So I finished like 2 sections, which is like 100 some photos or something. Thoughts on the Sony Alpha 7S III compared to the XT3? I mean, if you're looking to do video work, like if you really want to get into some video work, I feel like that that Sony 7S III is the way to go. That thing looks legit, totally legit for video. I thought some of these were edited. Oh, it is. See, natural fills, this looks so natural, I can't even tell that the thing's edited or not. Are you using the tour box with this stream? I am not. I'm not used to it enough yet. So I do use it. I have it right here. It's like chilling with me, but I'm like slower on it. So I'm still trying to get used to it. I mainly right now use it for video editing. I love it for video editing. But the reason that is, again, is because I'm still so new to Final Cut that it's easy for me to switch over to using a tour box because I'm not used to it. Whereas Lightroom, I've been using for so long now and I've gotten so fast that the muscle memory, it's like hard for me to stop. But the tour box is awesome. I think this thing was edited too. Actually, see, nah, I can't even tell. It is. The widest I shoot for a wedding is 35. I'm thinking of trying a 16 or 24. How much difference would it be from a 35? It's pretty different, but in my opinion, it works best for reception shots and also shots of people processing out or recessing. I don't know the term. Been doing weddings for seven years and I have no idea the term of the. So let me show you some examples. So like this, if it wants to load, I guess. Maybe. Let's leave it over here while it tries. Oh, my computer like slow. I don't know what's wrong. Bro, what is the problem? There we go. So this thing right here, this was with the 14. So I actually love shots like this when they're processing out from the wedding at 14. Because I think it just really, so one potential bride of mine, she said she didn't like it because it looks kind of fisheye. But I like it because I think it really adds to the kind of fun and joy of the photo. Like you can see all the guests around them. So you have all these like nice facial expressions of everyone around them. You see them nice and center. Everything's like elongated because it's a wide lens. So I absolutely love wide lenses for this type of stuff. And then also for reception photos, I think wide lenses are best for that as well. And I'm talking reception like open dance floor type photos. So like photos like this. This was also with the 14. You know, this is light painting and stuff, but yet again, you can see more of everything happening. You can place the couple right in the middle. Everything is nice and elongated. You can see a lot. It's kind of fun. So I love wide lenses for that. I definitely recommend a wide lens for reception, open dance floor, and when your couple is processing out. What's your favorite lens for flat lay? So generally I copy the same process every time. So I start out with a wide shot like this. This was with the 23 f2. So if you're full frame, that would be a 35. I think I stopped down a little bit. Yeah, I stopped down to 2.8. And then when I take all my close-ups, I switch to 35 f2. So for the most part, the 23 f2 and the 35 f2 are like my go-to lenses. I use them all day. They get the most use on a wedding day. This thing ain't straight at all. What happened? Do you know any good alternatives to the Narbox? So I would say it's not really an alternative, but this thing here, the My Passport Wireless Pro, this thing is cool. It's kind of the same concept, except it's just a hard drive. So it has an SD card slot on it. I don't know if y'all can see that because it's not gonna focus because of my face. There it goes. And yeah, it's just a little hard drive. You can back up stuff. I think my battery expanded some, so I don't know. This thing's kind of scary, but it's way cheaper than the Narbox if you're just looking for a way to be able to back up stuff. The Narbox is more like a straight up computer, which is its main draw. And it's like really good for that too, so. How's it feel to be a Fuji creative? It's kind of crazy. Like, I still don't believe that I am. It's weird sometimes to be like, oh yeah, you're a Fujifilm creative and ambassador. Like, wow. Like, literally just a while ago, I was over here complaining about trying to figure out how to become a Fuji ambassador. And then like, here I am in there and I'm like, oh, okay. You made a comment about what a potential bride thought about a photo. Do you adapt your creative style to your client or no and allow them to decide if they like your style? Yeah, so generally I don't adapt my style to the client because then that would make me not really me. You know, like my photos would start looking like who knows what. So I generally don't do that. However, if it's like a couple of small nitpicks that they just don't kind of like, I don't mind making a change there. So her main thing was that a wide lens that close, and she does a little bit of photography, so she also understood it from a technical standpoint, but she said it made things look a little kind of fish-eye. So I was like, that's fine, you know, I'll shoot it with a 23 instead and I won't be as close to you all. So little things like that, that's fine. That doesn't necessarily change my style. But if it's like a couple who wants like super extra posy stuff and the photos are like heavily photoshopped and da 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 da, like no, that's just not my style. Or like, you know, they just, the way they want it just doesn't line up with how I normally do stuff. Then yeah, those are the clients where I let them know like, we're probably not going to work well together because my approach to everything is going to be so different than what you're looking for that you're not going to like it. So I just let them know, like, I'm not your photographer. And then I pretty much help them find another photographer or something. While editing photos, does your monitor matter? What kind of monitors do you use to edit? Yes, your monitor definitely matters. I'm using BenQ monitors. They are basically made for creatives. They have 100% sRGB. They're great. Like, you don't even really have to color correct them or anything. These are the PDQ 3200 or the PD 3200Qs. So they're great monitors. I absolutely love them. I've been using them for a couple years now. No, Lightroom, no. So yeah, like some of this stuff is looking a little too rough to me, so I'll come in and like, you know, clean that up real quick. I'm usually not coming in and touching up photos too hard, but like if something stands out too much, then I'm gonna clean it up. Do you have a tutorial on light painting? I can't remember if you mentioned it. I don't think I do. I need to make one actually. Would you prefer using a zoom rather than a couple of primes lens? I don't like zooms. I don't like zooms. I like knowing exactly where I need to be for a photo and really just being able to feel the spacing and line it up like that. I just like the way primes look. And then yet again, with primes, you can get faster primes anyway. So, you know, you can get your f 1.4s and 1.2s and all that type of stuff. So that's the biggest draw to primes. But yet again, also just being able to know exactly what my 50 looks like versus me using a zoom. And sometimes like, you just don't zoom to the same spot sometimes. And so like the focal length looks a little different. Like it's all kinds of little things like that I can't stand about zooms. How many photos on average do you normally take while shooting a wedding? Usually around like 5,000 or so. It depends on how long the day is or not. Like this one was like 6,000 photos, or I think around 5. So again, as I go through here, I can cull some of this down. Like I was saying, over culling is not so bad because you just cull this stuff down. So. And it'll be blatantly obvious. Like you'll see the photos and be like, oh yeah, let me just cull this down a little bit. Yep, prime all day. Plus you get your step from all that moving. You get your steps up. Fill all my rings on my Apple Watch. This was my second photographer. So yet again, the second photographer gets to be able to take like all the fun shots like this. I wonder if I can like blow this out all the way so that you can't even see it. That'd be hype. Can I just paint in exposure? Will that work? Let's try it out. Lightroom, come on. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to turn off auto mask. Yeah, just paint it on. Sorry to ask again, but I could use your advice. Got a family friend who asked me to get photo and video for their wedding. And you've never shot weddings before? Is that the premise of this question? I mean, the main thing is just be careful. Like, the saddest thing in life, which happens a lot, is being like screwed over by your own family or friends, which happens to a lot of people. It's very unfortunate. So just make sure that like you have guidelines in place. You have, you know, a contract. Get yourself a decent lens. Or like even a zoom. If you just have one camera, you should be good to go. First wedding, but they want both photo and video. They said mostly video so they can just take screenshots. That's always, see, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, yeah. I mean, just take some video. Get a decent little camera that does some good 1080p, maybe something with IBIS on it, or if you have two cameras, put one on a tripod. But yeah, that's a little rough. It's a little rough, and it's scary too because like they're gonna expect a lot from you. So like I said again, just be careful. How many hours do you typically spend editing photos you take from a wedding? I want to say like between 6 and 8. I don't take that long. If anything, it takes me so long because I like have to take breaks and, you know, do other work and things. I'm a new photographer and I wanted to know if you have a tutorial on how to expose to your liking. I don't, but I do plan on doing some stuff like that. I want to definitely go back to like the basics. So this photo, as you've seen, I'm kind of going in on the edits a little hard to make it a little bit more of a creative shot. This was one taken by my second photographer. Great job, Lightroom. Great job. So yeah, what I did is I painted in exposure on the right side here to like totally get rid of that window. And what I'm gonna do now is take this into Photoshop, and then we can get rid of like some of this top part. Yo, Lightroom is really over here for real struggling. I got an XT3. I mean, yeah, if you have an XT3, just make sure you have a wide lens and just get in there and do the thing. Give them some good coverage. Yeah, so let's go right click, edit in Photoshop. Do you shoot in RAW always? Yes, always RAW. Now, Fuji has definitely made me consider shooting in JPEG because it's so good. It's like so good coming out the camera. Like I really, really have thought about it. But outside of that, no, I just shoot, you know, straight on RAW. All right, so let's just take this whole section and let's see what Photoshop can do with some content aware fill. I'm hoping that it'll just brighten that all up and just make it one big white thing, but it might not actually. What I should have done is gotten rid of this first. Yep. It almost did it. All right, so let's first get rid of this. There. And then now we can come in and let's see. So I generally try not to do this to too many photos because it takes up so much time, but sometimes I think a photo is worth it. Like this is a nice shot. I like it a lot. How many photos are in typically a wedding package? I quote around average of 650. And it can range from the day. So this one I culled it and it came out to 1200. So, you know, take that into account after I'm editing and stuff and culling stuff down. It'll probably be around 1000-ish, 1100. Yeah, so some Photoshop work. I was able to get rid of that window. I got this nice little black and white kind of, this is a great shot. I like this a lot. Hey John, you and your videos inspired me to start my own photography business. I'm in the process right now. Awesome. That's cool. Good luck with everything. I wish you the best. 650 are all of those edited? Yes, they are. And that's average. A lot of times it's more. A lot of times I'm like doing like 900 photos or something. Yep, so that's the end result right there. And then yet again, I have my exporting for sharpening and the grain. So what I would do is we'll just export this so y'all can kind of see the process. After I did all that with Photoshop, you know, I would export it, add some screen sharpening, and then that also goes to exposure. Oh, here comes the landscapers again. So here's the photo after export it, and then we throw that black and white grain and sharpening, and this would be the final result. Oh goodness, y'all. Do they? Oh, yeah. So I don't take 650. I usually take, like this wedding, I took 6,000 and called it down to 1,200. So, you know, if I do a wedding and I call it down to 1,000, they'll get 1,000. So the average is just what I quote people. Like they're gonna at least get 650 on an 8-hour day. So yes, they do get the whole 650. Can't tell if that's a Honda or a leaf blower. Sounds like the purge alarm. They're like right back there too. They always come through. It's my boy Dan. Y'all go check out Dan. Check out Dan. He's one of my favorite videographers that I've ever worked with. Shout outs to Dan. Bam, check him out. He's good. Actually, me and Dan have a wedding coming up, like, what, next week together? So that'll be cool. That'll be some good stuff. But yeah, this is a great shot. So yet again, this was my second photographer. Awesome shot. I did some super extra Photoshop to it, and it's cool. Very creative, kind of fun shot. I always love stuff like that. So let's compare again. Let's create a virtual copy, and then I'll reset this one. How do I reset it? I can't remember. Go to develop. Reset it. Boom. Oh, it's a TIFF. What have I done? No, no, no. No. As a beginner, would 50 photos in a package be enough? I think it's a little low. But it depends on how long the day is. If you're talking like a 3-4 hour wedding, 50 photos, yeah, that's not bad. But I've never been a huge fan of like bracketing off how much my clients are paying based on how many photos they get. I just give them good photos. Mainly they pay for my time and my expertise. So here's that before and after. And this was the XT2. So Fuji XT2. My second photographer took this. This is what I did to the edit at the end after some Photoshop. I overexposed the window section, got rid of the bar here at the top, and then we did some content aware fill with Photoshop and got this as the end result. Do you also print photo books or create photo albums for your clients? I do, if they paid for it. So it's like a paid type of thing. I can show y'all one real quick. So here's an album. This is the one I show to clients when we're in meetings. But this is with Red Tree albums. If you're not familiar with them, they're really awesome. Here's a link. So Red Tree is really cool because they only serve photographers and photography businesses. So if you can't prove that you're a photographer, then they won't let you buy albums for them. So this is not like client-facing stuff. But yeah, it's like a nice album, pretty straightforward. It's like a flat lay album. So everything like opens up nice and flat like that. And so I'll design the albums for them. Basically, after I deliver my photos, I'll let them pick the photos that they want, and then I'll build the album out for them. Which for that I use Smart Albums, which I'm gonna make a video on at some point too. It's good stuff. Nice edit. Looks like one of those magazine perfume or wedding shots. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I've been streaming for a long time. I gotta start doing emails and stuff. I'm gonna finish up some more stuff, but I'm gonna be getting off of here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and keep editing. See what we can get going. But yeah, I love creative edits like that. They're just kind of annoying because they like take up so much time. By the way, I don't know if I would have the confidence to do my first wedding if it wasn't for your folder. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad I was able to help out because that's the biggest thing. Like, I like being able to give back like that to other people because at the end of the day, I absolutely hate when photographers are too concerned about competition. Like, there's billions of people in the world and like pretty much everyone's getting married. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no point in us sitting here being like, oh no, competition. Like, come on, bro. Everybody's getting married. Everybody's getting married and getting divorced and getting married again. You know, like, so everyone's getting married like twice. So sitting there being so concerned about your competition is just, I don't know. It's like, really, y'all, please. Let's just all work together to serve our clients, serve our couples, make the wedding industry as a whole good, not just yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always hate when I see those stories in the news where like some photographer that someone paid. I mean, obviously, like, it doesn't matter how much they paid, but they paid him like $500 and then the photographer like screwed them. I hate those stories mainly because it's not so much a reflection of the price, but more a reflection that people see of wedding photographers. It just gives them more reason to be like, oh, I don't know about these wedding photographers, you know? And I don't like that. Like, it really, really makes me sad. And I'm like, come on, y'all. Yeah, like, these are all very similar. We don't need that many photos. Let me actually break this down so I can see my photos. Do you have a recommendation for albums for non-photographers? I just like the photography for family and travel. Artifact Uprising is my absolute favorite. Like, it really is my absolute favorite. I do it for prints, so all the prints back here are Artifact. I do it for little books like these, Artifact Uprising. I do it for, you know, little prints like this, Artifact Uprising. I do it for some albums as well. Their albums are fairly priced and they're nice. So Artifact Uprising really, like, hands down is really cool. This is them here. Is my PC slow? I think it's Lightroom. Lightroom has issues. Cause I mean, I'm over here running a i9 9900K overclocked 64 gigs of RAM. Like, I'm in here, you know? I got a Radeon 7, which is a 16 gig VRAM card. Like, it's, you know, I'm in here. So see, another reason I don't like backlighting is yet again, so this whole thing's gonna be overexposed if I like turn it up, obviously, because she's in the shadow because of backlight. So I can shadow save some. You know what, like, cause yeah, I never understood the whole trend of backlighting everything, but I feel like what happened was photographers who used flash and stuff, you know, they loved backlighting stuff because it made sense. They filled in the flash at the front. But then all these natural light photographers started coming around, like me, so I'm not, no offense to nobody. I'm definitely mainly natural light. And we started doing backlighting too. But to get the subject to look right, you have to overexpose the background. So then you just have blown out backgrounds everywhere. So yeah, I'm not a fan of backlighting in general. I'd rather light the subject with the light rather than have everything backlit. Here's that before and after. I painted in shadow save on her. Yeah, it's not the PC. Yeah, it's definitely not the PC. Lightroom is just a wonky program. That's just what it is. It's like the worst. Lightroom is the worst. Like, I hate it. I put all this money into this custom build PC with like the top of the line parts at the time and like, you know, like all the good stuff, and Lightroom's just like, you know, I don't like perfectly clear. I used it before. I had it in the past. I'm just not a fan of it at all. Luminar's kind of cool though. I definitely use that a little bit. Can you talk more about client meetings? What do you usually discuss in those meetings? So for client meetings, first off, I have a video about that. And I've taken the time to like make a pretty decent little catalog of, you know, some videos of topics like that. I need to go back and revisit some of that stuff. There it goes. But so client meetings, generally I just get to know them. I like to make sure that they are cool with me, because the biggest thing when you're photographing someone is if they're not comfortable around you in general, then you're not going to get good photos. So that's a first. I want to make sure that we vibe with each other at least. So usually I'll meet in person or either over FaceTime or something. And I've been doing that before even the pandemic. Like, I always used to meet in person and stuff. And then after that, we talk about their wedding day and just kind of what their plans are and stuff, which usually leads into questions they have for me. And a lot of the times it's just little things, but the main focus is just making sure we align on a lot of my approaches to things. So I'll ask them if they're doing a first look or not and things like that, kind of give them an idea of how I run my wedding days. And you know what? I'm gonna just get rid of these photos and use that other one my second took of her coming out, because that was much better. And yeah, and I answer any questions they have. Normally in my meetings, I don't talk about money because I don't want my wedding photography to be transactional. The worst thing you can do for yourself is make a meeting about money, because then they don't care about you or what you can do for them or your value to them. All they care about then is how much does it cost. And that usually doesn't lead to anything good, except for them just being like, you know, either resentful because they think it costs too much or whatever. It's just when things are only about the price, it usually doesn't end well. So yeah, I hope that explains a little bit. I was actually thinking about, it's hard, but I would love to get a couple or a new, you know, inquiry and actually record my meeting with them and put it on Patreon and just share that with you all so you can kind of see the process and stuff. Yeah, some of this is just like too much of the same. So yeah, I'm just kind of culling this down a bit because yet again, it's just too much of the same. Those photos are beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, I did a pretty fair amount here. Let's switch over to a couple portraits, do a little bit of that, and then I'm gonna head on off. I got people I gotta email and keep up with all that. I got videos I gotta edit. I got so much to do. There's always work to be done, y'all. These are invaluable info, priceless info for me. You're welcome. I'm happy to help out. The photos are gorgeous. I call the photos a photo mechanic. Awesome. Yeah, so this is the good old 56 1.2. And then for the lighting here, basically, it's kind of like a tunnel. So I have them standing kind of at the front of it, so all the light's pouring right into them. Let's crop this one some. So yeah, they have all the light funneled in on them. The background's gonna be a bit darker. And then my second photographer hooked me up with the alternative same shots, but super wide. Which yet again, like I said, that's what you want from your second. I love it when they're taking like very similar shots, but just like a different perspective. Yeah, shots like this always love in black and white. I wonder if I need a faster hard drive. That might be half of it too. I think the hard drive I'm working off of is like just like it's not even a solid state hard drive, and that's probably the problem. Yep, just culling this thing down. I always over cull, so straighten this up a bit. Crop this in. Use SSD. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, I started using this hard drive so that I could like save everything. But I'm pretty sure that's the issue, is that I'm not using an SSD. I'm used to using Nikon or Fuji's more complicated to use. They're about the same. I find them easier, but it's give and take. You know, when you're really used to something, you know, it's hard to say it's easier or not. I have an NVMe that I was using for photography. Ooh, that rhymes. No. But I stopped using it for some reason. It like got full on space or something, and I couldn't take the stuff off of it. Or something. I can't remember what was going on. I probably should start using it again, really. That's really the real answer. Okay, hold on, let me... Here's my second photographer again for the win. This is also gonna definitely be a black and white. Look at that, ugh! Ugh, so good. Photos in an HDD. So see, that's the thing. I have my photos now in just a normal hard drive. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of all these. I ain't like them anyway. How many photos do you normally deliver for an 8-hour wedding? It's usually about an average of 650, but it ranges. So a lot of the times it's around like 1,000 or so. Aside from photography, what do you do in your free time? So I have 3 kids. So I'm either hanging out with the family or my wife. I like video games. So video games is probably like what I spend most of my time doing if I have free time. That's if. That if is big, if I have free time. A lot of the times I'm sliding in like literally like, here's 10 minutes of a video game, and that's about it. I draw a little bit, but yet again, that's if I have time. Oh, this was all me? Nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I used to be a gym rat. I'm kind of slacking on that now, but I like to work out. I haven't in a while. I've gotten lazy. But yeah, pretty much video games and tech stuff and my family. That's pretty much what I spend my time doing if I'm not doing photography. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for now. I think that's pretty good for now. I'm trying to advertise myself as a second shooter, but I keep finding photographers in my area want to match gear, and it's mostly Nikon and Canon. How would you recommend? I hate that. I have such a pet peeve against that kind of stuff. But so that's definitely one of the harder things to deal with, especially if you're shooting Fujifilm. Like, I still like to second shoot now too, even though I do my own weddings, because honestly, it's good money. It's good, nice, cheap money, because all you have to do is show up and do a great job, support the main, and then give them your photos, and you know, you get like $500 for 8 hours. Like that's pretty decent work, you know. But it's hard because yeah, people are really picky, and I mean, it definitely helps to have the same camera system. It just makes things a little overall easier. But in my opinion, like, I don't care, you know, like I'll shoot with whoever. So when you are mainly on Fujifilm or something, it's kind of hard to second. If anything, like, keep one Canon camera or something just so you can second and get some experience in. But honestly, just find photographers who understand that the camera system doesn't matter. Because see, and that's what I'm saying, like, things like that happen. It's not just because of editing, because a lot of times some of those photographers, they barely even edit their own stuff. So that's literally just that same mentality again of people being like, oh, you have to be full frame to be able to do weddings. And it's like, no. But because everyone thinks that, then, you know, you look in Facebook groups where they're like, looking for a second photographer, and you're like, great, I shoot Fuji. Is it full frame? No. I still second. People still love my stuff. It's just hard. It's hard. But yeah, there's really no way to combat that pushback. You just have to have a good portfolio and kind of show people that you can do well. Show them your shots. If your work speaks, then they'll, you know, they'll at least take you seriously. This is good stuff. This is a good looking wedding. I love when I come back from a wedding and I don't know, the day itself, everything's always so stressful. So you're like, oh, I'm not sure. And then you get home, you start editing and stuff, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. It's not so bad. But that's gonna be it for today, y'all. I did a bunch of editing. It's looking good. I'm like losing my voice now and stuff. And like I said before, I have some other emailing and other admin type work that I need to go ahead and get on for the day as well, since it's Friday and the day is pretty much done. So thank you again for hanging out on the channel. Thank you again for joining the stream. I hope you all liked watching me edit. I hope you learned a little bit. These longer like 3-hour streams, I'm probably not gonna keep up on there, but you can find them on my Patreon, so you can go back and go through. But I'm definitely gonna keep this up for at least a little bit, like a week or something, and then maybe archive it away for the Patreon folks. So again, thank you for hanging out. I hope you learned some. I hope you enjoyed the photos, and I will catch you all next time. All right. Peace.